name is Carola. Thank you all for deciding to listen to my speech. The topic that I chose to present my speech on is called Natural Disaster Preparation, the Concise Plan of Action. And the reason why I chose to present my speech on this topic is because we do live in Hawaii and we do encounter many natural disasters. The things that I want to talk today in my speech, I want to talk about 3 different natural disasters: flash floods, tsunamis, and earthquakes. According to their survival, the complete resource for disaster planning and recovery, one of the areas in the United States most vulnerable to storm surges are the areas of New York, Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island. And if in these areas, if another storm were to happen, which happened in 1938, it would generate a 30-foot wave, and it would crash into that area, which is now populated by 2.5 million people, and it could kill them all. Okay, so let's talk about the first natural disaster, which are flash floods. Flash floods are caused by intense rainfall from thunderstorms and collapse of man-made structures. There's 2 terms associated when we talk about flash floods: flash flood watches and flash flood warnings. A flash flood watch, flash flood warning means that flooding is definitely occurring. Means that flooding has not occurred, but it is definitely possible. So let's talk about what to do before a flash flood occurs. First, it's important to determine whether the area you live in is prone to flash flooding. Once you're able to determine that, it's important to purchase all the necessary materials. The kinds of materials that you want to make sure you have are weather radios and disaster supply kits, also known as first aid emergency kits. It's also important that you purchase flood insurance, so that if a flood were to occur, your house or your property would be insured, and you wouldn't be left with nothing if something did happen. So let's talk about what to do during an actual flash flood natural disaster. So the first thing you would want to do is listen to the radio and TV stations and make sure you keep yourself informed and updated about the situation. You also want to know any kind of streams or drainage channels that are near your house or near your area, and know if they're prone to flooding. Also, avoiding going near floods, of course, if there is a flash flood occurring. Oh, and you also want to know when to evacuate and where to evacuate. So what do we do after a flash flood is over? You definitely want to continue, checking the radio and the TV stations to make sure you know exactly what's going on. And you want to stay away from floodwaters and power lines. And you definitely want to be alert of your personal health and safety, and especially with your family and friends. You want to make sure they're all okay. The next natural disaster are tsunamis. And tsunamis are waves that are caused by earthquakes or landslides. And they're generally more common in the Pacific coast, but they do occur other parts in the United States. There's 3 terms that we use when we talk about tsunamis: advisory, watch, and warning. An advisory is an earthquake that might have been generated, but we're not sure if it's actually gonna happen or not. And then tsunami watchers are tsunamis that have been generated or might have been generated, but they're still 2 hours or more away. So there's still time to prepare and kind of assess the situation and figure out what's going on. A tsunami warning is a tsunami that has been generated, and it is certain that it's going to arrive. During a tsunami warning, people usually are expected to evacuate. So what do we do before a tsunami strikes? In other terms, how do we prepare for it? It's definitely important to have a family disaster plan, to know where to go if something were to happen. Discussing tsunamis with your family Talking to your insurance agent again to make sure you're covered for whatever damage the tsunami may do to your property or house. And then, so what do we do if a tsunami actually does happen? Well, we do want to turn on the radio station and make sure we inform ourselves of what's happening. We should stay away from the beach. Definitely move inland and to higher ground. You do not, if you live close to the water or near the water, you don't want to stay near the water. You want to move up to higher ground. You want to help injured or trapped people and check for food supplies. Okay, the next natural disaster I'm going to talk about are called earthquakes. What are earthquakes? Well, earthquakes are the result of a sudden release in energy from the Earth's crust, and they can result in tsunamis. How do we prepare for earthquakes? It's important to go through your house, to check your house, and to make sure that there's nothing like defective in your house, like no loose wires or cracks in the ceiling or whatever. You want to make sure that there's nothing too heavy hanging from the walls, like really heavy pictures. So you want to check for those hazards. Make sure you minimize the hazards in your home. You want to identify safe places inside and outside the house. You want to educate yourself and your family on what to do if an earthquake does happen. And you want to communicate with them and figure out what to do if one of the other family members becomes separated. According to a book which is called When Disaster Strikes, a comprehensive guide for emergency planning and crisis survival, which was written by Matthew Stein, research has actually shown that most injuries actually happen to people because they don't stay where they're supposed to stay. Which brings me to talk about what do we actually do when an earthquake happens. The first thing you want to do is drop on the ground and seek cover. Look for any like large table or anything large you can crawl under. You want to crawl under it and cover your face and your head and curl into a ball and make sure that you stay away from anything heavy that could possibly fall on you. So what do we do after an earthquake has occurred? You want to check yourself for injuries, make sure you're okay. You want to look for small fires and extinguish them if you have to. You want to help neighbors who need help. Here's a summary. Today I talked about 3 types of natural disasters: flash floods, tsunamis, and earthquakes. And I talked to you guys about what to do before the disaster occurs, what to do during the disaster, and what to do after it has happened. Like I said before, it's important to know what to do in a natural disaster. One good example of that is if you guys think back and remember the night of October 27, 2012 of last year, according to the Hawaii County Civil Defense, that evening a 7.7 magnitude earthquake happened in the area of Queen Charlotte Islands, which is located off the coast of Canada. So shortly after that happened, the Hawaii County Civil Defense that evening, they issued a tsunami warning for all of the state of Hawaii. And so they had people evacuate that were living close to the water. Thanks to NOAA and the Hawaii County Civil Defense, they were able to inform the people and make sure they're all evacuated and keep everyone safe. And thanks to them, nobody got hurt or nobody got injured, and everybody was safe. The reason I'm bringing this up is because it's a perfect example of how really important it is to educate yourself about what to do if there is a natural disaster. All of us, we were present during that night. Could you guys actually imagine like having a close friend or family member of yours that actually got injured during that night because they didn't know what to do? Again, I want you guys to do yourselves and your friends and family a favor and start learning about natural disasters and what to do, and it will definitely benefit all of you. Thank you for listening to my speech, and it was a pleasure talking to you.